first off, I want to say thank you so much for coming out today. As a lot of you in the room know, I have a podcast. It's called the Bridetender, but this is the first time I'm doing it in front of an audience.
Yeah!
So thank you all for being here. I'm not gonna lie, I was like freaking out leading up to this day, but like we're sitting here now, so like we're fine. We had a drink, we have a second one, like we're all good now. So I want to introduce to everybody Rolando Roblero. Rolando and I actually like go back a couple years just being in the wedding industry together, and he is a men's stylist here with Alton Lane, and we're kind of going to give the grooms some love today. You know, normally, you know, we tend to the brides like we tend to the bar on this podcast, but on today's episode, we're gonna tend to the grooms. We're gonna give them a little love. They really don't get a lot of love from me, but we're gonna change that up today. So Rolando, first I wanna say, one, thank you for hosting me in your house here and everybody here, and thank you so much for coming and deciding to do this with me. You really pushed me to kind of do this. I don't know if you realize that. I was kind of like, oh, I want to do this. And you were like, let's just do it. And I was freaking out like I normally do. And you were like, why are you freaking out? Like everything is fine. So here we are. And I so appreciate you for getting me to step out of my comfort zone.
Well, you know, so my wife recently did her family tree. And when trying to find who was who, the record was the only breadcrumb. And to me, you recording this podcast is a breadcrumb. It's a mark, you know? So like talking about it is fun at a bar, you know, but the legacy is built on this work here today. So you put most, if not all of this together. So it's really in your court.
Well, I couldn't do this without your support behind me, so I appreciate that. And with the support of all of you guys in the room,
Definitely.
So I very much appreciate you. Thank you. You know, this is just the beginning because we're like going to take this tour on the road. But like, you know, until we get there, we have to have like a starting point. So. So I want to discuss with you because we talk a lot amongst ourselves about trends, about fashion, about what we see in the industry, about what we hate, you know, from being quite honest.
Dislike strongly.
Dislike strongly, you know, what's ugly, you know?
If
we're just like being, you know, outward. And, you know, even when I got dressed today, I was just like, oh, like it needs to be like it needs to be the right outfit. You know, like Rolando is a stylist. I can't be like showing up just looking mediocre. I
appreciate that. We all do.
Yeah. So I was just like, you know what? I pulled out this vintage dress. It's 35 years old. I know I told everybody that today, but but it's 35 years old. But you can see that even in today's time, so classic. And I feel like for me, my big thing is like, I'm a big fan of like classic. Like I feel like things that will never go out of style. So I kind of want to see your opinion, especially in men's fashion, about what's in, what's not, you know, what's classic, what's considered trendy, and kind of get your view on that.
Well, you got two groups of people. You got the people who only wear classic. And they're not fun. They're boring. They look like your dad. They look like bankers, and they're boring. And you type Pinterest, and they're all the same guy. Just swap the face. AI can do that, right? So, but then you get the guys who stay too far from classic to where they date themselves. Now you're 70s. Look at your ridiculous 70s pants. You know, you're marked now, and so you have to find like, you know, a great guy, Richard DeFleury. He handles the assets of professional athletes, right? He taught me a valuable lesson. He said that there's a big difference between how you are perceived and how you want to be perceived. And oftentimes don't interject. They don't match. So sometimes you have to put one at the back seat. And it depends who your audience is. If you're going to a place where, you know, you want to impress somebody, generally, don't try. Don't wear the yellow jacket. Wear the stuff that you just mentioned, the classics, you know, wear those. Because
you can't go wrong with black.
You won't offend.
As we know.
You won't offend. That's the biggest point. Yeah, you can't go wrong with black because it's not offensive.
Right.
Because you're just now a human in clothes. You're not this guy who does he think he is wearing a red sparkly jacket? You get what I'm saying? You don't want to be that guy. You want to blend.
Although
That's why
I have to say, I kind of like love that guy at a party. You know?
Well, there's a place. Yeah, there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place.
I'm like, I love your jacket. You know, like I gotta talk to whoever that is.
Now the problem with that though comes in. You might like it, but his rival will not because he has your attention. So it creates a power dynamic in the primate in the suit, and you don't want that when you're trying to appeal to a great many people.
That's true.
Hence the classics.
So what would you suggest for like a groom who should be like the star of the show?
It depends.
In theory, other than the bride, you know?
If the fiance or the bride is wearing white, it's classic, because white is classic. You get what I'm saying?
Ah, yeah.
In the sense that maybe white's modern in that old school before they can dye fabric. Pure white, it was only ivory because the mosquito blood or however they dyed back in the day.
Thing?
You know, color came from mosquitoes that landed on trees, and anyway, we're trying to figure out malaria, and that's how we found out.
He's teaching me new things every day. That's the thing about Rolando. You just never know what he's going to tell you.
That's a rabbit hole. But you know, like that aside, people consider white to be. First of all, if you're getting married and you're like, you know, traditional about it, you go to white instantly. That's what brides wear. White.
Yes.
Ivory. That's her second marriage. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of attitude. But so for the guy, for the groom, you know, if they're wearing white, go classic as a default.
I hear that. Yeah,
usually
that makes
if
sense.
It's not white, it's ivory, and it might skew bohemian. And then it depends where you are. There's a lot of factors, and that's why you have a stylist to go through the process with you.
To help you through that. Because we talk a lot about how you have ballroom weddings, you have hotel weddings, you have beach weddings, which are all very different looks.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone
different climates.
Different climates. You know, you and I amongst ourselves have always talked about, like for me, I am like not a fan of like the ankles with no socks. Like I'm just not into it. I'm just not. But it works for like a beach or an outside kind of wedding. It works.
Yeah. I mean, look.
I guess it works for other people for like a lot of things. It just doesn't really work for me.
It depends where you are. Obviously, like for example, if you go in the jungle and all the people in the jungle, they're showing their ankles. They're showing much more than that. They're showing a lot more. So it depends where you are. If you're going to a formal banquet dinner, cover your body. Like, what is wrong with you? You know, you're going to get your disgusting hair in everyone's food.
You all came here not knowing you would hear about the jungle. Like, you were just like, you didn't think that word was even going to come out.
So, you know, it's focus on where you're going. And then it's like, not where you're going like philosophically in life, but like the place where you're going to, the actual location, right. Indoors, outdoors, hot, cold. You know, if it's cold, are you wearing baby blue?
Yeah, it doesn't
probably
really
not.
fit.
Probably not. You could, but are you going to blend in with the sky? You know, like there's a lot of weird kind of.
You're going to be the star of the show at that wedding.
And there's another question. There's another, or not question, but there's another facet of the bride and the groom relationship is who's the star. It's always often bride, default, bride. That might be relic from some kind of weird sexist, you know, the wedding is only for the brides. Guys, why do guys care? You know, guys don't need to care. You're marrying me. I'm the prize. You're just the thing that comes with the family of the land I'm trying to conquer. You know what I'm saying? The weird ancient world that we're still part of.
I mean, I think that the groom is the star too. They should look nice. And you and I have had conversations just about like prepping in enough time to, I know, it's a trigger point. It's a
For
trigger.
Me, yeah, big time, yeah.
So I want you to touch on that because I feel like, you know, not just in today's times, but really all times, I think a lot of wedding planning really gears toward the bride and her look and what she wants for the wedding and how everything should be laid out, the flowers, the bands, everything. But the groom has a look of his own, and that takes preparation as well and planning and maybe, you know, looking into, you know, how you said Pinterest or just kind of getting a feel of how do you want to look on your day? Mm-hmm. And maybe not leaving it to the 12th hour before the wedding.
Yeah. I mean, well, if your bridal dress takes a year to sew and put on your body, then you have no choice but to plan ahead, you know?
Right.
But if there are companies out there, first of all, I mean, if you're buying an off-the-rack suit and, you know, God, like 3 days in advance, there's an internal argument that I have with myself about that, in that you better not be able to afford the expensive stuff. That's the only reason why you go down that road, to off the rack stuff. That's the only reason why you go down that road. If you want to invest your money elsewhere, then you're kind of in the middle. You can go either way. But if you are matching the care that the bride often puts into the day,
you need more than that 3 days in advance.
Get a suit. Get a custom garment. It's not custom. Okay, look. The whole concept of a custom garment is new. It used to be just clothes. Before factories, it was just clothes. Who made your clothes? That guy. You see what I'm saying? This whole custom world. Ooh, I'm getting a custom suit. It's only because the factory machinery pumped out these clothes for you. And now there's the whole custom industry that came out of that.
Right.
Before that, it's clothes made by some Italian guy with a beard with marinara on his chest, you know? So if the bridal industry, now I don't know, you may know, but like, if the bridal, why does it take a year? Why does it take 6 months to get a dress?
It takes so long.
Why does it take so long?
And well, more than 6 months. I mean, if you need it in 6 months, you're paying a rush fee.
Exactly.
And I would know.
Why?
Because I paid that rush fee.
Whatever reason why the guy should not have his feet up the whole time. It's disrespectful. It's like you can't just show up to the party and drink the wine. You know what I mean? You gotta participate in the production of the party. Otherwise, you're a fad, and you shouldn't be a fad at your own party. You should be a part of it.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. I also feel like, I mean, when I got married, I married the groom of all time. He was very involved. He knows who he is. He might be here. But he was very involved in a lot of the planning. And I feel like you and I actually got married so close to each other. We didn't marry each other, just for the record, in case that was confusing. But we both got married during pandemic times when things were not as available or as, ready to go, or just a lot of
limited.
Yes, a lot of craziness in the world. So I have to ask you, because you were a groom not that long ago,
2 years.
Yeah. So what did that look like for you when picking out your garments for the day?
Like what I was saying earlier about somehow blending classic and contemporary together. I have funky jackets, man. I have red, ridiculous cotton.
Did you wear that for the wedding day?
No. But my point is, I got a lot of classics and I got a lot of funk. And to find a balance between those, always make that decision on the shoes, for men at least. Make the decision on the shoes. Because the garment from neck to ankle, classic. Shoes can be funky. First of all, they're down there, they're with the animals, who cares, right? But if somebody looks at them, no flip-flops, but somewhere in between flip-flop and, formal Oxford, somewhere in between there is fine. If you want to funk up an outfit, do it with the shoes. So I did boots with a double-breasted tuxedo. And I did a double-breasted tuxedo because it's a little bit classic. It's a black tux, classic looking. But the double breast added an element of kind of an armor finish. It made myself look broader than I won't tell you my weight, but
that's okay. I would never ask that question.
It helped out. Let's just say it was. I'm glad to have.
You don't have to worry. The beautiful part of me, I would never ask anyone that question. Yeah. Just I hope no one ever asks me.
We're good. On my bad days, I wear my double-breasted suits because it gives me that punch. Days. Yeah, in my days, I want a little punch in my life. I give when I walk around in a double-breasted suit, people either bump into me or get out of the way. I like the people that bump into me. I hug them. You know, I love
I was
them.
going to say, I'd love the people that get out of my way. So
That's fine too. That's fine too. But yeah, I wore boots, double monk strap boots from Crockett & Jones, the same boots that Daniel Craig wore in Spectre. He wore it with a black suit to the opening scene. It was like a funeral scene. But they're like basically the most utilitarian formal shoe you can buy.
okay.
Formal shoes generally aren't utilitarian. And utility shoes are generally not formal looking. They're built for war. So to find a balance, you make it easy to put on and can survive the elements. And those boots are double monk strap. I could pop the buckles and get them off my feet quickly. And they're wax leather, so they survive water.
Well, that's good on a rainy wedding day.
It was great. We were so worried it was going to rain. We got married in Montenegro, and we were so nervous it was going to rain. It was like that one day it was 20%. Every other day it was 100 with like a little squiggly lightning bolt, and we were terrified. And turned out it was perfect. It's perfect.
Rain can make good luck on your wedding day.
What, the rain thing? That's a big part when styling guys.
That's what you have to tell people when you work in the wedding industry. You know?
Well, good luck.
Well, we can't have them thinking that the rain is bad. We need to like pump up about the rain. Like, oh, it's fine. It's good luck.
You know, all this preparation goes into this day. Who cares what the weather is? Mm-hmm. The weather, there's rain, there's storm, it's cold. You look good, and you're around people you haven't seen in years, and you have tons of great food, and you're doing this union that is weird. I love it, but it's bizarre. With this person that you just sleep with every day, who knows you more than anybody else. It's insane. So it's like, fuck the rain, dude. Just let it rain. Let it rain. But it's like, oh no, the microphones, the blah, 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 blah. But you're just ruining your day.
You know, it's so funny. I got married in the winter, and people were like, aren't you afraid of the snow? And I was like, no, because I had 2 feet of snow on my bat mitzvah day. Like, lightning doesn't strike twice, so we're good. But secretly, like, I kind of wanted it to snow a little bit, and then it didn't. And I was like, am I going to complain it didn't snow? Because, like, that would be crazy. Just like, it would look so nice in the ballroom with the windows, like, I was like, oh, a little bit of snow. But it didn't snow. But I didn't want to complain that it didn't snow, because that would have been crazy, So that's something else about, like, the big day. So I forget who told me this. It was a wedding planner, I think. So she said that, photographer, Jackie, our photographer, Jackie Berkopik. I love saying her last name, Berkopik. So she said, spend more time with the person you're marrying than you think. Because what happens is you linger around this person you haven't seen for years because you think they're there to see you. They're not there to see you. They're there to see everybody else. I can't wait till they get married. I haven't seen so-and-so in years. I know they're going to be there. So stop. It's just you guys. Bride, groom, the rest of them. The rest of them party, hang out, have a great party, have a great time. But if you focus too much on them as the bride and the groom, you'll miss each other. And that was the lesson that she taught me, which is crucial. Yeah, well, a lot of people will say that on your wedding day, like, take a minute, like, take a step back with your partner and just, like, look around the room and see everybody that, like, came out for you and just, like, soak it all in for a minute. I mean, I can truly tell you now, like, being married almost a year and a half, like, as every month passes by, like, when the 6th of the month comes, I'm still like, oh my God, can you believe that we're married this long? Like, I wonder if that will ever go away. I hope it doesn't, though. Because every month on that 6th of the month, I'm like, wow, we're married this many months.
You know what I think? I'm not sure. I mean, I've been married. I might be married a little longer than you.
Yeah.
Just not by much, but a bit.
I'll take your advice, though.
I think, every month counts. I think that, the calendar changes, and you guys are still married. So, sure, 30 years, 40 years, death, blah, blah, blah. That's all fantastic, and it's worth value. But I think from what I've experienced, and my wife and I, Kelsey, we've spoken about a lot, is like what changed in us when we got married. Not in the marriage, but how did we change individually? And the thing that I noticed that changed the most is and we both agree on this, it's like almost like it's okay if you make mistakes because there's always someone there who will tell you it's okay.
That's so true, and that's so smart, because I feel like, you know, for myself, when I was single, like before being married, I had to make all the decisions and everything on my own, and it felt like so hard. And it's still hard, but now I have somebody who's like, yeah, but like it's fine, just do it, just whatever. And it takes away a little bit of the edge. It's like knowing somebody is in your corner.
And an adult.
And an adult, yeah, that's
I mean, you could have a baby in your corner.
I don't know. I'm 31, and sometimes though, like making the decisions still seems scary. And 31's like kind of an adult.
Yeah.
I would think.
Something we spoke about.
I'm not sure.
Something we spoke about quite a bit is how your spouse is kind of like your second mind. So say if you get Alzheimer's, they'll remember what you forgot.
I don't know. I've met my husband, and
must be
it's kind of.
All right. Well, hopefully,
I'll
tell him to write it down.
I'll remember for him for sure.
Yeah. But ultimately, the goal is, you know, the person's like, haven't you ever like, even if you're not married, if you're just with a partner or somebody or a long life, a friend you've known for a long time or whatever, it's like, fuck, what is that again? It's that. They're like, they give that thought that you know is in there. Sam Harris is a neurologist. He studies the brain from a physical point, not the mind. The brain and the mind, don't get me started.
That's another podcast.
So, yeah. So your thoughts never go away. They're in there. It's just the bridges are so vast to find that place, that place to spark that electricity, to trigger that thought is difficult. The length of time from the event, the importance of the event. We can all remember 9/11 because it was an incredible importance.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that thought is easy to trigger, but other thoughts may not be. So those are kind of benchmarks of life. There are levels, you know, marriage, kids, of crazy events that happen in the world, blah 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 blah, right?
Yeah.
But your partner is remembers a lot of stuff you either forgot happened or you purposefully didn't force yourself to remember because you knew you had that backup. And it's so valuable. I almost said it's like a dog. It's a partner. It's a partner. It's a thing that is like is your life. It's your other life. It's your other person. Now, that's when you get into, I think the word is polygamy, where it gets kind of tricky. Where you start adding a third person. That's why marriages usually aren't 3 people. Is because then you get into tribal politics.
I think marriage with 2 people is truly enough. You know?
Usually. Depends where you are in the world, but yeah. Yeah. But, you know, in the Western world, man, woman, person, union, and then, you know, there's there's house and all these things. But the day itself it should be valued equally by both parties. One person shouldn't care more than the other. So,
since you are married, you went through, you know, planning a wedding. Well, I know you had to like postpone things a bit.
I can't wait to tell you that.
Yeah, we both got married during the pandemic, so it was a little crazy. But what advice do you have for couples who are currently in the midst of planning their day?
Shit. Drink. Drink.
Seriously,
if
though.
You don't,
seriously,
fine. If you don't drink and you just eat eggs or whatever you eat, then take a break. You know, separate yourself from what you're doing. Like, I don't have notifications on my phone. I don't hear my phone beep. If I hear my phone beep, I get anxiety. I don't like it. Get it away from me. I don't care. I don't want a phone.
I haven't had my phone on a ring in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard that from someone who was studying addiction and how it's like pulling a slot machine. You know, you get the buzz, you check the thing. And then you start thinking you heard the buzz. Like, did my phone ring? And then you check it, and that's weird. So the people who are planning the day, if you know, drink to get a load off. It's essentially just relax. Okay. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, it's a weird thing. Tomorrow will never come. It's something that is always present. It's really bizarre. It's a weird philosophy. But ultimately, just you can only plan so much. Eventually, it's gonna rain, or somebody's not gonna show up.
Yeah.
You know, and the worst thing you could do when you're planning your wedding is forget the people who will be there on the day. You're planning for them. You're planning for yourself. You're not planning for weather or the people who won't show up or the cake that isn't delivered. You're planning for just a good time, and just keep that attitude. It's not a work function, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not Wall Street. It's a party.
It's a party.
Keep it a party.
Time.
Even if you're wearing white and you're super traditional, now that's where the parents come in. Because if there's parents involved, then it's like they bring their.
That's when you drink.
And well, they bring their ancestors, their biases onto your modern kind of spin on what you want to do, and then it becomes like, well, now I'm just basically my mom's wedding now. You know, you don't want that either.
That's definitely a big part.
Can I tell you something quickly
planning.
that, you know, I had a birthday recently, and this is something that I think is important. Like, you know, my family and I we're individuals in the world together. We're not like, that's my dad. You know what I'm saying? He's just a guy who happens to have the same name. You know what I'm saying? So something that happened recently is I had a birthday and the candles were out, and I didn't want to blow on the candles because of coronavirus. So
still?
It was my excuse.
I mean, it's fair. It's fair. It's valid. I just don't like that.
I mean,
you know?
if it's my breath, so everybody else will suffer, not me. So it's not necessarily because I was worried about anything. It was like I was trying to help out, but also I wanted to be kind of cool, so I blew out the candles with my hand. Mm-hmm. And my, you know, I don't know, she's 70, I guess now. Nellie, my dad's wife, said, "No, light them again and blow them out." And I said no, because I didn't want to. But if you're getting married and your mom is like, "Oh, I think you should get yellow flowers," and you're like, "Yeah, but mom, be here." No, yellow. That's what we did in the 40s or whatever. Then don't get yellow. It's your wedding.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? That just bothers me so much. People grow up, they're like 45 years old. Their parents are knocking on, I was going to say Satan's door. Not Satan's door. Not Satan, a guy or whatever, God or whatever. They're getting up there. It's like, just live your life. When are you going to move? When are you going to, the umbilical is gone. You put food in the mouth now. What is wrong with you? Grow up.
No, it's true. I mean, I see so much just working on the venue side of the business and the planning side of the business. I feel like parents, when they're like flipping the bill, or at least a portion of the bill, they want their full say. And I never, truly, as somebody who works in the industry, but it was also a bride, I'm like, I don't understand, like, why you want to, in a way, control your grown children's wedding day. But it's a big thing that we see.
It's important that we don't stereotype older people as though the moms do that.
There's younger parents too.
Sure, yeah. What I'm saying is, like, because they're, you know, they think something is of value, or what was it? I forget the thing you just said. They
like trying to control the day.
Yeah, they try to control the day. Exactly. If they're doing that, it's an individual thing. They just happen to be older because they had kids, and their kids have to grow up, and they tend to be of a certain age. But it's not. Don't apply that toward older people or
I think it just
controlling moms. It's just that person.
I think it just comes down to like
a thing about
they
them.
also have like a vision, and they like don't want to stray from that vision. But at the end of the day, I think it should just be the couple who is, in a way, like dictating what their day looks like. So now that, like, coming back to like the fashion aspect for a second, because you're the expert in this, what is something that you see more? Like when you have, you know, grooms, when you have any client who comes in here, what is it that they are looking for their wedding day? Do you see a mix? Do you see?
Depends the industry they work, usually. If they're in finance, they look for what everyone else is doing. Because when you get a job in finance, you have to look like your peers to not stand out, because you don't want to offend the big boss, generally. So it depends the industry. If they're in the creative field, then they usually don't know what they want, which is troubling. Those are the most fun appointments, but the more like taxing.
Well, I feel like when you're in the creative world, you want to do something that will like stand out and be a little bit different.
Yeah, but if you don't know about specifically, I agree with you, but if you don't know specifically about menswear, what is that? So you got either a lot of questions or answers that you are looking for, but you don't know the question, and it's up to me to figure out what you mean. You know what I mean? It gets complicated. That's when you lean on the classics.
Imagine if you did women's wear.
Now, I like giving style advice to women a lot because I mean, I'm a guy. I've been looking at women for 39 years. I mean, I probably look at women more than women look at women. So I've seen a lot of women in my life. So just because I don't dress like a woman, I can still style one, I think. Or at least I could have advice or an opinion.
We'll have to do this again in a women's episode.
I would love. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, I would love that.
Bring out all the dresses and be like this or this.
If you want something funky, like the guy who's not finance and doesn't know a lot about menswear or whatever, then you lean on the classics and you spin from there. If you have the guy who knows what he's doing, this is advice to guys who know what they're doing. Don't either tell me you know or shut up. Don't test me. Because it's obnoxious. I know what you're doing. Oh, well, what is this? Oh, isn't it actually? Well, then, how about we flip the sides, I'll buy the suit, you sell me the suit. How about that? Because I can't stand it. But, if you're funky, it's fun. I made a lot of weird tuxedos. And tuxedos are, what do you mean? It's black, right? No, tuxedo's the black satin on the lapel and the black stripe on the pant. That's it. Fucking orange tuxedos and weird bubbly, you could wear a bubble fabric tuxedo as long as it has a satin lapel.
Wow, that's a lot. I haven't seen an orange tuxedo since my dad was in my aunt's wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was orange, like sherbet orange.
You know who kills a tuxedo?
That's rough.
You know who kills a tuxedo? Jason Momoa.
Oh, yeah.
Kills a tuxedo.
I mean, I feel like put Jason Momoa in any outfit, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Tuxedo, a bathing suit.
That's another thing.
He's good.
That's another thing. That's the opposite. Now, we get a lot of non-Jason Momoa types. And
No.
let's say those guys, carry their weight up front. Let's say. Now, the problem with those guys, if they're cool, they're like, all right, you know what? No kidding. If they're cool, they say, all right, you know what? I know I'm fat. I just need a big suit to fit my fat body, right? And I'm like, dude, bro, cool, you're done. Make him a beautiful suit. He's gone. Everyone's happy. If he comes in here and he's like, but he's big, dude. God made him big. I don't care. He's of a circular formation, let's say. But he wants to look like Daniel Craig. You know how hard my job is at that point? I can't say, bro, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing?
You mean you don't tell him that he doesn't look like Daniel
can't.
Craig?
I'm trying to be a nice guy here, but fuck, you're making it hard. Why don't I look like a supermodel, dude? You're not doing your job. I'm like, bro. And I fucking die inside. I die. And I go home and I drink. It's not good. It's not good. But, just be honest with yourself, man. You're going to look great. But if you think you don't, it may not be my fault.
That's out of your control.
Do a little research.
Oh my God. You kill me.
So anyway.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for coming on today's episode. You kept it colorful like you usually do. And thank you for hosting me and hosting us here for my first of many live shows. And I'm so happy you were the one to kick this off with me, because I definitely don't know if I would have had the balls to do it without you, truly. So you're the reason behind this, and I really, really appreciate you.
That's really nice.
I want you to tell everybody where they could go follow you on Instagram, because you're kind of like me, like you're like a man doing like so many things, you know? So where can everybody keep up with you?
You know.
That was hard for you? This is a hard question.
First of all, I want to ask, you know, you are closing up shop right now by your closure, and I want to confirm with everybody if they're okay closing, because if they're not, then we could just get more content. Because I'm good. I could go all fucking day.
I know you could. You want to bring somebody else in here?
No. I'm just asking if you guys feel good about stopping now, or do you want to keep chatting?
Yeah.
I want to keep chatting. I'm not done.
You want to keep chatting?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But I will answer your question. I will answer the question.
We can keep chatting. You choose the topic.
Ooh.
How about let's switch this a little bit. I'm gonna let you interview me.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
But I will answer the question first.
Okay. Yeah, because tell everybody, you know, we pimp people out on this podcast.
Oh.
Yeah. That's how this works, you know?
Yeah,
you know, we get the
you?
followers
Where's
up.
my
You know,
where's my cat, Daddy?
Yeah, that's how this works. That's how this
Where's
works.
my cat? All right. You know, regular Rolando is my Instagram, and I love that one because it's myself. You know, it's who I am. Rolando Roblero is my name. That Instagram is my stand-up, and my stand-up is not myself. It's a really aggressive person. And if you think this is a lot, fucking don't even be there. Trust me. Don't be there. And that's it, really. You know, it's just, you know, yeah, I'm a stylist, but, you know, it's important that we just kind of, all right, I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole, all right? Bear with me.
Just a small one?
Bear with me. It's a small one, but it's important, I think, and hopefully you guys think so as well, is that, you know, it took me a while. Like, I always been into skateboarding. I love skateboarding so much. I tried it. I fell. I didn't hurt. I kind of like fumbled, but I didn't hurt myself, and I thought, I'm never doing that again. But skateboarding is the one thing that I think, like, I so much. I don't even have respect for people who jump out of airplanes. I don't give a fuck. You're falling out of the sky. I don't care. But if you're standing on a board and you're doing this and then you flip it and you land on it, that's incredible. And sometimes you fall and your femur breaks in half. That's insane.
You couldn't catch me doing it.
That's insane. So, you know, as I started valuing skateboarding, I realized that, like, you really have to respect what other people do, because you spend so much of your time and life mastering something that people either won't master because they don't care, or they don't have the resources, or whatever reason, they don't have the knowledge you have. And it's that transfer of knowledge that gives us general intelligence, that gives us intelligence as a whole. So it's really important to value other people's work. That's a long-winded way for me to say value other people's work. Now, exactly what you said, I'm about to interview you. And it's because
I'm not used to this.
Hopefully my questions are good, because I value your work, because you know so. I told you this earlier. I told you like 2-3 hours ago. You know so much. You don't know how much you know. And other people don't know either, because they're not in the field. And as we get older, we let go of, like, kind of, hey, that's mine. Like, you know, I'm going to take your coconut and that's my girl. You know, you let go of some of that. You shed some of that, and you start valuing other people's work. And that comes in 30s, probably 40s, 50s. And so and as a stylist, and this is a big part, I'll end on this, is that as a stylist, it's like a barber. Don't treat stylists like they are indispensable, because we have so much knowledge from a place of general kind of learned knowledge, but also personal knowledge. Where, like, I may style you differently from somebody else. You may not like my styling. Doesn't mean I don't know anything or know what you think is important.
Well,
It's
something
just-
I've like learned over time is like you're not for everyone.
Sure,
You
yeah.
know? And I feel like in my 20s that felt so like, oh God, like how could like I not work with this person or this or that? Like how could I not be for them? But now in my 30s, I'm like, well, I'm not going to be for everyone. So,
But it's not a
okay.
negative. It's not a
No,
negative.
no, it's not.
It's just a matter of there are so many groups of people
Yeah.
in the world that our tribes and our niches have become kind of more secular, more kind of like a dome. And if you're outside of that dome, it's not because the person won't welcome you into theirs. It's just that's, you know, you only have so much time in the day.
It's true.
So here we go. Get ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Estee Gordon, what's your last name?
Levin. Yeah.
Levin.
I'm
Which
Levin
one is the
now.
birth name?
Gordon. Yeah. So Estee
Levin
Gordon.
is the new one.
Yeah,
Would you
Levin's
ever
the
swap
new one.
those? Would you be Estee Levin Gordon?
I don't know. I think it's already confusing enough if I'm Estee Gordon Levin. I don't know if I can switch
Now
it.
this is a big part of bridal as well, or you know, wedding is like,
Yeah.
why not? You get what I'm saying? Why? I have to take like that's another thing. If you're in a white dress, you're probably changing your last name. Those two
Yeah,
are very synonymous.
I hear that. Mm-hmm.
So you know, there's like you hold on. And I get it.
Well, it's funny.
You know.
Like growing up, I always thought like I would like change my last name. It was like a no-brainer. And like as I got older and established in my career and things like that, I'm just like, oh God, like I'm like not gonna be Estee Gordon, and like I'm the only daughter, so like
How many daughters?
just me. I'm the only
Oh
daughter.
shit! How many brothers?
I have two brothers. So like yes, they will like continue on with like the Gordon last name, but I was just like, oh God, this is so strange to like not have that last name. So it's still strange.
But you're
But
okay.
I'm only married a year and a half, so it might not feel as strange in like 20 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What do you?
My poor husband
What
in the
frustrates you? What frustrates you about stubbornness of brides?
I feel like when you work in the industry, you really know timelines of how people should do things that make sense for like the flow of not only the event, but like the guest experience. And when you do weddings, you're really focusing a lot on that guest experience. And sometimes if people don't take your advice on it, it's like, I don't want your wedding to be a flop. I don't want it to be a flop with times that are too quiet or too slow or too boring or a big lull or an awkward timing around speeches for food service. I mean, a lot of like what people know is I come from the food service end of the business. I come from venue management. So when it comes down to a timeline, I have that thing to a T to make sure that it's around food service. So you're not like serving food while speeches are going on or serving food while dancing is going on. It just doesn't make sense. So I would say that's the only stubbornness. But I do think that most couples are very like easy when it comes to your area of like expertise with the timeline, because truly like they don't know. They don't know. Unless you work in the industry, you just don't know.
And oftentimes I've heard that like, oh, that speech went on for 40 minutes. It's like, dude, cut the guy off.
Well, I will say this one thing about speeches though. Brides and grooms, couples in general, will always be like, we're only letting them speak for 30 seconds. I'm like, I'm sorry, but your dad is not speaking for 30 seconds. That guy's up there for a minimum.
What's a good time?
Like,
What's a good time?
like, carve out like 5 minutes. I'm not saying that it will be that, but like carve it out. And if it's less, it's less.
That's a solid. That's as a comic, as a stand-up. That's a solid set. You get your first 5, you're good. That's a lot. Not a lot of people can fill 5. A good 5, an entertaining 5.
Yeah, I mean, and it might not be that one speech is 5 minutes, but you might have 2 back to back. You know, like carve out that time. If you're gonna sit here and be like, oh no, I'm giving everybody 15 seconds max.
So
It doesn't work that way.
You went in for the food, right? So, but did you expand past that to like general, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, you got to go around food, toasts and speeches, technically same thing. First dance, parent dances. I mean, I'm gonna say throwing of the bouquet and tossing the garter. People don't really do that anymore, but it happens once in a while.
How receptive are brides to interruption? If there's something's going on and you're like, hey, you gotta fucking keep it moving. Like, are they?
I mean,
I try.
I do it pretty easily, but I'm like, oh my god, I'm like so I think like let's speed this up just like a little bit. You know, I think it's all in the delivery. That's what I've learned. It's all in the delivery.
Oh.
If the delivery is nice, you know what I learned? A lot of people just want a lot of hand holding. They want a lot of like hugs and hand holding. I don't know if I'm exactly the person for that, but I've found a way to be. I found a way to be.
That's something. Okay, so I don't know what percentage do you think males are of the wedding planner business?
I will say more men are involved now than they were probably ever before. But I think also in today's generation, it's not so much of just the parents paying. The couple is somewhat involved.
Sorry. No, the planner, the male planner.
Like a male wedding planner?
Not a groom.
Oh.
A male wedding planner. What percentage of the industry are male? What percentage are female by birth?
Ooh, that's I would say mainly female. But there are female? I mean, I have worked
25.
I would say like 80-20.
80-20 probably.
Yeah.
I might even do 9, 10.
So there's a good market out there for male planners if anybody is like looking for that. But no, you're not feeling that? Okay.
I forget why I asked that. There was a reason though. It was something to do about like, because I'm fascinated with like, you know.
You want to go into planning?
Not at all.
Wait, I could teach you.
Oh, you know what it is? This is what it is. I remember.
I think you would be very unique
I'm not good
on a
at
wedding day.
I'm not good at planning. Ask my wife. Oh my God, it's a disaster. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta go. When? In 2 minutes. I'm in my underwear. It's a disaster.
Well, can I tell you on my wedding day?
Yeah.
Ira had 8.5 months to tell me what he wanted the band to play, but that morning he decided to send me a list. And he's like, you think the band could play these songs? And it's like 12 songs. I was like, you know what? Yeah, sure.
Here's
like,
a question for you.
Are you kidding me?
Here's a question for you. All right, my mind's starting to get backed up here. All right, here's a question.
That's great.
Do you feel like your experience planning as a job gives you less patience with your husband when he doesn't plan like you?
Ooh. Sometimes. You know what? I feel like in a lot of ways you marry your opposite, right? So I feel like in my work life, I am like type A. I'm like type A, you know, like, and I know that about myself. But in my home life, I'm actually a little bit more low key in the sense that I'm like, I'm tired, I'm chilling, I'm good like that.
Who plans dinner?
It's a shared effort. It's a shared effort. My husband will say it's him, but sometimes it is me.
Do you feel like some things that you guys are planning, you just take control of it because that's
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely do. But I think we're both like on the page like that. It's good like that. But I also feel like in certain ways, like my husband is like a planner, which in ways that I'm not. You know, like this is a man who needs 3 meals a day, 2 snacks a day, needs to eat at this time. And if you like look at me, I'm like, did I even eat today? I don't even know.
Is dessert a meal?
Dessert.
Is it breakfast, dinner, dessert? Or is it breakfast, lunch, dinner?
Well, that's the thing. No, there's
and
breakfast,
bonus.
breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert.
That's 4 meals.
We'll throw in another snack in there. Yeah, a snack in between breakfast and lunch. Or lunch and dinner. I know my husband. Not me.
Right.
I don't have time for that.
I remember the other point. All right, so you said that you gotta have a lot of patience, or not patience. What was it? It's how you approach the bride. It's how you approach.
Yes, it's your approach. Yeah.
Ask Kelsey Collins, my beautiful wife. My approach is a mess. I'm a mess. Look, when I talk with like almost like invisible fangs. You know? You hear them? Listen to my voice. It sounds like I'm Satan reincarnate. It's disgusting. I'm not warm. I'm not cozy. I am, but like, listen. It's horrible. It's horrible. Now, that's why perhaps a guy being a wedding planner who, you know, if it is 20/80, like you suggested, right? Is it because just mansplaining? How fucking dare you say that I need to stop my speech?
I will say this. The men that I know who plan aren't like that. I definitely think they are a little bit more like patient, you know.
Yes.
So
they have to be.
You have to be. In this field, I always say like weddings, like to work in weddings, it's the mafia. You know, like once you're in, you like cannot get out because it sucks you in. Like it really does. It sucks you in. I mean, I could be working with a bride for 8 months or a year or 2 years or like 30 days. But whatever it is, it's like, you know, leading up, it's like, it's crunch time. I need to make it happen. Like it's for this bride. It's for whoever. Like it's just, it sucks you in. This world is.
I love it.
Me too.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's kind of crazy.
It's great.
I mean, you have to be a very certain type of person to work in this field.
Shake it off.
Yeah.
So, do you
Like
want
you
to
do.
tell everyone about your new business venture? Because I would love to. Talk about it.
I haven't like made an announcement yet.
I'm not gonna press you. I could switch subjects.
Yeah.
Hey, take this off.
Yes.
I look like a drunk.
Yes. I'm gonna. I mean, not to like, you know, clickbait everybody, obviously, but definitely stay tuned. We have I have a few things in the works. I'm like very fortunate that the new venture that I'm taking on, I have a partner. She's here today, Luciana. So we are working on something together, and I think that was a big thing that was really missing for me. I feel like I am very entrepreneurial. A lot of people know that about me. I have a lot of things like that I kind of have my hand in. They're all wedding industry related, but there's a few different avenues that I've taken over the years. But I think a lot of what's held me back in a way from like going full force is that it feels hard to do something when you don't have somebody to bounce ideas off of. Of course, I have my family. Of course, I have my friends. But I need somebody else who really understands the vision that I'm trying to do in my work world, the person that I am in my work world. You know, I don't have any children yet. I'm married, but I don't have any children yet. And like my career has been my baby for the past 10 years. And it's something that I'm so passionate about. It's what I love. It's what I eat, breathe, and think about all damn day. Like, it's a lot. It feels good to be starting something new. It feels good to be doing it with a partner. I feel like I needed that push. But I needed somebody to hold my hand. You know, I've been holding other people's hands for a long time, but I needed somebody to hold my hand and like help me see something through. So I'm excited, and no clickbait, but like stay tuned. It's exciting. Yes.
I think whatever you do, whatever you're doing, whatever you're gonna do, as long as the care and standards are in place, where you know you don't let the original thought or the care that you put into the original idea disappear with every angry customer, or you know, or
that's a
time
big
and children,
that's a big thing
everything,
too.
everything.
Yeah, it's a big thing too. I think not just in this field, but really in any field, if somebody is disappointed or that you don't click with somebody right away, it might feel like a downer, you know, especially in business. But I think everything is like learning experiences. And I mean, a lot of people in this room know, but like I have had a lot of jobs, like too many, if you ask me. And
let's hear. We got all night. I want to hear about these jobs.
Too many. And But everyone has brought forth like major learning experiences, and I have no regrets because it's brought me to where I am today. And learning so many different sides of the business has now brought me to the point where I feel confident enough to set sail on my own venture. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. All right, let's do little closing words.
Closing words. Well, first, I want to thank you for having me.
Yeah, right. Change that. I don't like purple. Okay.
But it's a color though.
That would be red. That would be red.
I'm really more of a red person too, to be honest with you. But I feel like, I don't know. It just purple and pink. I feel like it just worked. It just worked. Yeah. And then I want everybody to go follow at Rolando, at regular Rolando. We are trying to pimp him out a little bit more. I told him about the importance of social media. It's so hard. It's like a full-time job over here. But, I told him, I was like, listen, I'm not your marketing manager or anything, but like, we gotta spruce this up a little bit. And, I think that this is just the beginning of like a very exciting journey. And we'll take this show on the road, which I'm very excited about. This is just the beginning. So I want to thank all of you guys for coming out today, for supporting me, supporting Rolando. I know it's kind of random, but I'm trying something new, and it's very scary to like put yourself out there. Actually, like deathly scary for some reason. I mean, I had plenty of sleepless nights, but I'm like, you know what? I just have to rip the Band-Aid and do it. So I'm doing it, and I'm glad that I was able to do this first show with you. I really appreciate it. And of course, I'm going to give a little plug. If you guys aren't already following me on Instagram at the Bridetender for like all fun facts on the wedding industry and like ways to save money on your special day and having the best in the business, please go follow me at the Bridetender. It's just part of the spiel,
Sure,
so I can't dismiss it.
Yeah, I love that word.
We put out a new episode every single week, usually on Wednesdays. So luckily you guys got like an inside scoop on this one, but it will go out in next week's episode for everybody who wasn't here, and everybody who, listens on their car ride.
Yeah.
And,
So I'll say something to the camera then. Which one is it? This one? The middle one? What's this one? Or this one?
We break the fourth wall here,
The amount of people in that device is obscene. It's way into the future, beyond any of our lifetimes. So to be able to record this is a value, true value. That's crazy. Yeah, the way I talk is insane. My wife fucking hates it. I talk like this all day. Sometimes she's like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Ultimately, if you're a groom, care, hug your wife, love her, know how much she has probably been thinking about her wedding, regardless of to whom she's marrying, and your wedding together, and put down the PlayStation controller, tell your friends to fuck off, and hug her, love her, listen to her thoughts, or what she wants to share, and produce the day together as best you can. If she's a little controlling, just shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Oh
just let her do her thing. Don't say shit. Get in the corner, play PlayStation. But ultimately, be involved. Because if you're not involved, honestly, the rest of us being my types, are looking at you and shaking our heads. Because you need to get your act together. Because you look like a boy amongst men. So get your act together. Love your wife. Dress well. And if you don't listen to the Bridetender podcast, I don't know how you're hearing my words right now if you aren't.
You better be listening to the podcast.
But listen to it because, there's a lot of industry people out there who, are saying some good stuff, but they're beholden to, a certain specter of kind of communication. There's like a level of like, if you go outside of that, you get a little funky for certain departments. And Estee right now is the most honest person I know talking about bridal, which isn't my book isn't that big, but you know, it's not generic, and it's a true asset. Estee is a true asset to the bridal industry, and I can help you put on a tie.
I'll end this on a PG note, which is enjoy the process of planning your wedding. And for all the grooms out there who are looking to look sharp on their wedding day, please let Rolando dress you. Okay? Okay.